Concept assembly line, where ideas get to work. For more than a decade, the public conversation about electric vehicles has revolved around two questions: how far they can go and how fast they can charge. Range anxiety was the first great hurdle, and by now it's mostly been cleared. Many EVs on the market can comfortably travel 300 miles on a charge, but the second question still lingers like a stubborn shadow. Even at the fastest public chargers, refueling an EV from near empty to a usable level still takes 20 to 40 minutes. For most drivers raised on 5-minute gas station stops, that gap is the psychological moat that keeps EVs feeling like an adjustment rather than an upgrade. Shell, yes, the oil giant, is trying to close that gap. Working with British motorsport engineers at RML Group, the company has built a proof-of-concept battery pack that promises to slash charging times nearly in half, potentially cutting the wait from the length of a coffee break down to the time it takes to stretch your legs. The heart of Shell's experiment is a liquid, not a fuel, but a special non-conductive gas-to-liquid thermal fluid that flows through the battery itself. Instead of running coolant alongside the cells through cold plates, this liquid seeps into the microscopic spaces between them. It's as if someone stopped blowing air on a hot engine and started dunking it in a temperature-controlled bath. By surrounding every cell directly, the fluid can pull heat away far faster and, more importantly, keep all of the cells at the same temperature as they charge. That uniformity matters. One of the invisible enemies of fast charging is lithium plating, a kind of internal frost that forms when certain cells get hotter than others. Plating can permanently damage a battery, so today's charging systems slow down aggressively if they sense heat building unevenly. Shell's system short-circuits that problem, figuratively, by preventing those temperature spikes in the first place. In their lab tests, they took a 34 kilowatt-hour pack from 10 to 80% in under 10 minutes without letting it overheat. But if heat is only one of the barriers, the other is hidden in the architecture of the cars themselves. To see how Shell's breakthrough fits into the real world, it helps to compare it to cars people actually know. Take the Hyundai Ioniq 9, which runs on an advanced 800-volt system and can already charge from 10 to 80% in about 20 minutes. The Honda Prologue, which uses GM's Ultium platform, runs on a 400-volt system and takes more than half an hour to do the same job. Elucid Gravity, with its cutting-edge 900-volt architecture, lands fastest at around 16 minutes, but could theoretically go much faster if the stations existed to feed it. The difference between them isn't just how big their batteries are, it's how their electrical roads are built. Think of every electron as a dump truck carrying a load of energy from the battery to the motor. Voltage is how big and heavy each dump truck is. Current, amps, is how many dump trucks you send at once. The total power is how much material reaches the job site every second, a blend of truck size and traffic volume. Here's the catch. Dump trucks give off heat as they work. Their engines heat up, their brakes heat up, and the road itself starts baiting under the friction. If you try to move a lot of energy with small trucks, you need a huge swarm of them on the road at once. And that traffic jam makes everything run hot. That's what happens inside a 400-volt EV system. It moves energy with sheer quantity, and the price is heat. An 800 or 900-volt system solves the problem by sending fewer, bigger trucks. Each truck carries more energy, so you don't need as many of them crowding the road. Less traffic means less heat, and less heat means you can safely move power much faster. Shell's cooling system doesn't make the trucks bigger. It lines the road with cold guardrails, pulling the heat off all those little engines so they don't overheat. That means even on a 400-volt road, you can push more trucks onto the asphalt without melting it. It doesn't raise the voltage ceiling, but it lets each platform run closer to its real potential. That shift becomes real when you picture it inside familiar cars. The Hyundai Ioniq 9 runs on an 800-volt backbone, which means each electron is like a big dump truck carrying a heavy load of energy from the battery to the motor. Because the trucks are big, the Ioniq doesn't need very many of them on the road at once. That keeps traffic light and heat low. Even today, the Ioniq can push its battery from 10 to 80% in about 20 minutes on a 350 kilowatt charger. But the software still taps the brakes as temperatures rise, thinning out the traffic to keep the road from cooking. Shell's cooling system would change that dynamic. By pulling heat off the road in real time, it would let the Ioniq keep its big trucks moving at full speed longer. On the same hardware, its pit stop could shrink to 12 or 14 minutes, barely longer than a bathroom break. A Honda Prologue tells the opposite story. It runs on a 400-volt system, which is like trying to move the same amount of material with twice as many smaller dump trucks. That clogs the road and builds heat fast. Today, the Prologue peaks around 150 kilowatts, then slows down sharply as its thermal guardrails light up. Immersion cooling wouldn't magically make its trucks bigger, but it would pull the heat off their engines and brakes, letting the car safely send more trucks at once. With the same charging stations, the Prologue might sustain 225 or even 250 kilowatts instead of collapsing back toward 100. Its 10 to 80% session could drop from 35 minutes to around 22 or 25. Still slower than the Ioniq, but a different experience than today's half-hour wait. And then there's the Lucid Gravity, a convoy of the biggest trucks on the road. Its 900-volt system already sends huge payloads down the hill at over 350 kilowatts. But because its pack is enormous, 118 kilowatt hours, it still takes about 16 minutes to go from 10 to 80%. That's not because the trucks aren't fast. It's because the road isn't wide enough yet. Today's public chargers simply can't shovel in enough energy at once without overheating the pavement. Combine Lucid's oversized trucks with Shell's cold guardrails and the next generation of 500 or 600 kilowatt stations, and the equation flips. The same charge could fall to under 10 minutes, not quite the 5-minute pit stop of a gas station, but close enough to erase the psychological gap. Seen this way, the real bottleneck isn't the size of the battery. It's the size of the trucks, the number you can fit on the road, and how hot the asphalt gets when they roar downhill together. Voltage sets the truck size. Cooling decides how many you can unleash. That's why Shell's timing matters. The rest of the world is quietly building the on-ramps for this kind of speed. Most public chargers in America today top out at 150 to 250 kilowatts, but every major investment program is leapfrogging that baseline. A federal NEVI rollout mandates 350 kilowatt minimums. European highway hubs are already piloting 400 to 600 kilowatt chargers. Companies like ABB, Kempower, and Alpitronic are shipping 1,000-volt hardware designed to handle 600 kilowatt charging sessions. It's like widening a 2-lane construction road into a multi-lane expressway. Once the lanes are strong enough to handle bigger, faster trucks, the old traffic jams will vanish. Within a few years, the bottleneck will flip. Instead of asking, can the station deliver this much power, the question will be, can the battery survive it? Shell is trying to make sure the answer is yes. If Shell's fluid cooling works as promised, its impact could ripple far beyond just shorter pit stops. It has the potential to rewrite how EVs are designed and how many we actually need to build. Right now, car makers oversize their batteries not just to offer range, but to make charging less painful. A bigger pack gives drivers more miles between stops and keeps charging speeds higher for longer because the same current is spread across more cells. It's like building a bigger parking lot just so more dump trucks can idle in line while they cool down between runs. But all that extra capacity comes with baggage. Heavier vehicles, higher costs, and more strain on the supply chain for lithium, nickel, and manganese. Immersion cooling changes that math. If each truck can carry a bigger load and stay cool while doing it, you don't need as many of them on the road. A 60 kilowatt-hour battery, barely half the size of what many crossovers carry today, could recharge from near empty to road ready in 10 minutes and then go another 200 miles? It would slash weight, cut costs, and reduce the number of scarce minerals each car needs. The ripple effects would reach the grid too. Fewer, faster trucks mean each charger serves more vehicles per day. Instead of sprawling fields of slow chargers, infrastructure could focus on power density. Fewer stations, each one moving energy like an expressway instead of a frontage road. In that world, the anxiety about range begins to evaporate, not because every car goes 500 miles, but because every car is always just 10 minutes from full again. This is the future Shell is quietly sketching forward, not an EV that mimics the gas car on its terms, but one that leapfrogs it by redesigning the refueling experience altogether. It's easy to see a fast charger has just a bigger plug, but what Shell's experiment hints at is something deeper. It's about time, not just how much energy an EV can hold, but how quickly its owner can get back to living their life. A real revolution might not be the battery that lasts longer, but the one that never keeps you waiting. Please subscribe to help keep this content coming. It costs you nothing but makes all the difference.